I can hear you.
uh, he feels safe in his home, and also so that he has what most of us have in our homes, and that is to know that when you're going to bed at night, you don't get disturbed with a lot of distraction, outside noise, perhaps illegal activity. And I do want to say, I believe we do not have security lighting over there because it is an effort to minimize the activity over there. So I welcome a conversation on how we can help him. But I did want to point out that I have spoke to him. I was aware of the situation, and to my knowledge, uh, there were conversations with the gentleman, with the sheriff, and also the judge's office. But if we've got to this point today, I just hope that we leave with a resolution, and so that the constituent is satisfied.
May I respond?
Mm-hmm.
I remember conversations quite well with you, and I don't recall the way you're putting it at all. Sounds like it's coming from a politician, quite frankly. Shortly after I purchased my property in 2016, I called Lester Gibson's office. You answered the phone. You were working underneath him. I told you how bad my road was. And my grandfather was a farmer rancher. I know at times the county would help with culverts and gravel and that kind of stuff. So that's why I called. I said, I just bought this property. This road is terrible. You basically need a Jeep to get from one end to the other. I said, is it possible I could buy discounted materials from you, or could you furnish me a road grader and some other equipment? You told me absolutely not, that was a private road, you didn't have insurance, and that you weren't going to put a foot on it. So then, yes, I do remember. It was a while back there, maybe in 18. I called and I told you about my property, and trust me, it didn't last 45 minutes or an hour. It was very short. Your response was that you could do anything you wanted to, and that was it. And I've called you numerous times. I left you messages. I've spoke to your assistant, and nobody has called me back since that phone call. And you are the county commissioner of that area. And Danny Tate's another one. He's been down there and given me problems. And coming from Lieutenant Ballou, he has been banned from Redfish Lane. I remember when I spoke to him one time, and he said, I'm close by, whatever issue I was having. He drove down to the end of Redfish Lane. He says, I'm sitting in the driveway leading to your building. I cannot go any further. He says, I've got a map, and the road ends here, and I'm not going over private property. And he went on to ask me, he says, what are you going to do with this mountain of debris? It was brush and all this remodeling debris that the Salters family has brought down there for years. And I told him, I says, I'm going to burn it, and what I can't burn, I'm going to haul off. And he said, that's great news. He said it would take me an act of Congress to go across private property to remove that mound of debris. So that's just part of what's going on in 4 years.
Judge, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. We're currently working on this, and at this point, it's kind of like beating a dead horse to go over what's gone on in the past. We understand that. We're looking at different options, from fencing and license agreements to whatever. We're looking at all the options. So at this point, I think we understand the problem. We just need to get to a solution, and that's not going to be done today. So probably we're beating a dead horse at this point.
I don't expect results today, but we need to sit down and we need to come to a solution here.
Agreed.
All right, thank you, Mr. Courage. Commissioners, anybody else have anything? All right, Judge, I'll turn it back to you and we can move to the next item.
Okay, thank you.
Do we need to defer this?
Yes, it's up to the court. We can make a motion. We can pull it for now and put it back on the agenda when there's a resolution or a resolution to present to the court. It's up to the court.
I'll make a motion to defer, as I'm not sure what we could have done. So it being as an action item, but I'll make a motion to defer.
Or pull.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I would like to know the outcome of what's determined by legal on this. So I think that's a good reason to defer it.
Okay. All right, we have a motion.
Also, could we get Zane to maybe draw that 1 point something acres on the map and send us a copy so we know exactly where he's talking about?
I think it's on the map, Commissioner, but we'll make sure you get a good
Okay,
picture.
May I-
yeah, it's kind of hard to determine on that
okay.
side. So yeah, you can send that
May-
to us, that'd be great.
May I speak how I came to that 1.3 acres?
Yes, sir.
Well, if you go down to the end of the Redfish Lane, both on the east side and the west side, there's some old barbed wire fences. And so that's the area I would like to see fenced off. Residents, what I call lakefront residents, have told me that in the past, cars have gone down there and parked, and they've walked up these shorelines and committed their criminal activities, such as stealing from these houses that are overlooking the lake. So there's these old barbed wire fences. So I went down to McLennan County Appraisal District, sat down with their mapping department, and we shot the lines on the computer, and that's how I calculated it. And you probably have that in that envelope that was sent to you. This would really clean up. The commissioner was talking about a bit ago how people could go to sleep in their house at night and feel safe. trust me,
Mr. Kurtz,
we would
I
be
mean,
doing these people
I
a favor.
assure you, we are looking at it. We're looking at fencing, high fencing. We're looking at, licenses for the landowners. We are working on it. So as far as background, I, I trust you, that it's a problem. We are working on it.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to defer. Any other questions? If not, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Passed. All right, going to item, F2, on page 6, McLennan County Soil and Water Conservation District Operation and Maintenance, Funding Request. Well, I think we have Cleet, Vanderberg on the phone, on the line. Cleet, good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning to the court. Hope everyone is doing okay. And I want to thank everybody for having me on behalf of the Soil Water Conservation District here for McLennan County. I have a brief report of the work that we did this previous year on 8 Cal Bayou watershed sites. We spent a total of $303,920.40 on each site. I'll kind of give a synopsis of each site of how much we spent. Most of the work that was done was your normal brush clearing, taking care of unwanted mesquites, cedars. There was dirt work that was done. There was some grass that was planted, shredding, spraying, and we built several fences as well to go around those structures to protect them. So a good chunk of money that was spent that went, and the people that worked on it did an excellent job, and these sites have turned out extremely well. Site 8, Cal Bayou, we spent $5,800 on it. On site 20, there was 3 different times where we had to go out there, work on some fencing, do some brush clearing, kind of do some more maintenance on it. Total on site 20 was $22,970.40. Site 11E, a little over $29,000. Site 5, a little over $48,000. 12, a little over almost $48,000. And site 3 was almost $99,000. Did quite a bit of work on that one. And then 25 and 26 are right next to each other. 25 was a tick over 35,000, and 26 almost 16,000. So with those funds, we and with that, on behalf of the McLennan County Soil Water Conservation District, I'd like to request the annual $50,000 from the Commissioner's Court or from the county to help us with doing more work for this next year, for fiscal year 21 and the year 2021, to do some more O&M maintenance.
Cleet, I have, in my notes, I have $55,040.
55,000?
Yeah, 55,040.
Oh, okay. Was that from last year?
I'm not sure. So you're saying 50,000 for this year?
Yes, sir. That's what we thought the $50,000 was the annual start. I didn't have it in my notes from last year what the exact
Okay.
number was. But
So I think under F2K, the consideration is amount is 50,000, which we had been doing.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Any
Yes, sir.
questions for Cleet? Anything else, Cleet?
Cleet, did we get everything taken care of on that Lorena site with the landowner on pulling the dirt off of the backside of the dam?
As to my knowledge, yes. I think Mr. Dunham would have maybe a little bit more information on that. I do know that the site is completed. I haven't gone out there on foot myself to look at it, but judging from the pictures that Zane sent me and driving by out there on Spring Valley Road, the site looks extremely good. And I do believe that the landowner is satisfied.
All right, good, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Under F2K.
A question.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, is this not already in the 21 budget? I guess it's more of a question for Francis than.
Yes, yes. So we did budget an amount, and we went ahead because we didn't know what the request would be. We budgeted 55,000, similar to last year. So the budget that is there is sufficient to cover the request.
Any other questions? Okay, what's the pleasure of the court?
Thank y'all for having me on.
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Thank you, Cleet. Next,
Thank you, commissioners.
you bet. Next, under item F2, F2I, L, F2L is McLennan County, Hill County's Tawakoni Creek Water Improvement District discussion. I have Larry Lear on the line.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. The Tawakoni Creek Water Improvement District is a co-sponsor with McLennan County regarding the maintenance of 32 flood control structures in the county. One of the lakes, Site 19, is adjacent to the proposed City of Waco landfill on the corner of Highway 31 and County Line Road in eastern McLennan County. The Tawakoni Creek District has responded to a grant solicitation from the Texas Water Development Board to conduct a baseline water quality and hydraulic adequacy evaluation of the lake before the landfill is built. This gives us an opportunity to estimate change in water quality and habitat before any disturbances occur, because we won't know if there's any changes in water quality due to the landfill unless we have a baseline idea of what the water quality is now. We've had the engineering firm of Freeman Nichols, who's done the priority assessment for McLennan County, will be doing the work. We've estimated a total cost of about $80,000. The Water Development Board will be cost sharing this at 46%. So we've got $36,000 of cost share. And I'm proposing that the watershed district and the McLennan County, and I've approached the City of Waco, and I've approached the Axtell taxpayers group who are protesting the site, if we could cost share the remaining $36,000. So what I'm asking from the county today is to consider the possibility of a commitment for $12,000 for cost share.
Okay, are there any questions?
I had one question.
It says it says 5,000. Oh, that's in-kind services, borne by the Tawakoni Creek watershed. Go ahead, Commissioner Miller.
Okay, just one question. I noticed that all of the other contributors are governmental agencies. Is there a reason why we're asking a private citizen group to contribute at the level that these governmental agencies are being?
Yes, ma'am. We don't know if anybody's going to contribute, and I wanted to have a definitive answer for your body. City of Waco, I've asked to speak to to their city council. Haven't heard back. They've got a vested interest in this, I would think. The stakeholders do too, and I don't foresee the stakeholders participating at the same level we do, but I think it would be goodwill on their part to contribute something, if anything. I'm sure not mandating anything, but I want to give them the opportunity to have a voice in this, since they're the ones with the biggest stake in this, I think. I would be surprised if the City of Waco did not participate. We had asked the Texas Commission for Environmental Quality to require a baseline study in the application process, but we haven't heard anything back from that. And we have to do this before construction commences, because otherwise, if there's any pollution in the future at all without a baseline study, we're not going to know if it's from the landfill or not. There are certain characteristics of the leachates of the materials coming from landfill that would be indicators for us of pollution. It's also a pretty significant habitat situation. We've got bald eagles out there. That hasn't been addressed. So we really need to know what we've got before we go. But to answer your question directly, I don't know what the other the other participants would be willing to contribute.
I know they're supposed to meet on this Thursday to discuss it. I agree it needs to be done. I agree that we need to help fund the shortfall. It would be my suggestion to the court, though. Axtell is not an incorporated city. Um, they're pretty. They're in the unincorporated area, and they fall under the county as far as for support. I think they need to have a voice in the project, and I think they need to be kept in communication. But I would hope that the court would cover anything that we would ask the Axtell group to participate. I just wouldn't want to, excuse the pun, I wouldn't want to tax a private citizens group when they do have a governmental entity that they pay taxes to. It would be my recommendation that we allow them to, like I say, have a voice, to stay a part of the process, but I wouldn't ask them to fiscally contribute. And if necessary, I would ask that the county would do any shortfall on behalf of Axtell.
Yeah, yes, ma'am, and I would agree with that 100%. Like I say, I did want to visit with them, and I didn't have the authority to speak for the county, so I had to have a number to start with. So, but I agree with you.
Okay. I appreciate you.
And the Axtell Group's amount that you were talking about would be the same as the county's portion?
Well, we're going to ask for a contribution, not provide a specific amount. One reason I chose the 12,000 was our district typically receives funding from from McLennan County as co-sponsors for maintenance work, and we haven't asked for any of that money this year in anticipation of this. So it's basically what we're going to do is reallocate our maintenance funding over to this project, so the county won't be out any more money than ordinary.
Well, it sounds like we still have some information to get. Any of the other commissioners have any input, want to give any input on this?
I agree with Commissioner Miller that we probably need to help where we can. I'm leery today to put a figure out there until we understand what the other entities are gonna do and we know what that final figure looks like.
I'll communicate back with the court once I hear back from the city of Waco.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe appropriate that, I think you got an indication that we've got an interest in helping. And I think maybe we should consider deferring this item until we can kind of nail down exactly what the request is for our body. And
I would make that motion to defer.
Second.
motion's made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. I'd like to jump down to item N4. This is the Pomeroy Foundation marker recognizing Elizabeth Freeman. And I think we have Tony Herbert on the line. And Dustin, I know you've been working with them, so feel free to jump in.
Okay. And I guess, Judge, I'll kind of start out, then turn it over to Tony, if that's okay.
Yeah.
The city of Waco had received a request from Patricia Bernstein, who is working with the on a Pomeroy Foundation marker recognizing Elizabeth Freeman for her work on women's suffrage. They had reached out about a location around the courthouse on courthouse grounds, and have since came back and have identified a spot in the parking lot across the street from the courthouse along the 6th Street side in the landscaped area for the placement of this marker. It's something we've reached out to the Historical Commission, as in the past with other requests, to see if we would need a antiquities license permit for this to be done. They would like some more information. There's a chance with it being in the parking lot across the street that it would not require a state antiquities license permit. So with that, I'll turn it over to Tony.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm glad to finally be able to join you. I had a little problem with my Zoom, but I am a surrogate for Patricia Bernstein, and I don't know exactly what you've got. Do you have a picture of the marker? Do you know what I'm
Yes,
talking
ma'am.
about?
We do have a
Wait.
picture of it in the packet. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you know that it's not a very big marker. It will have a very small caption on it. Elizabeth Freeman, do you know Elizabeth Freeman? Do I need to give you a little background on that? You know who she is?
Yeah, brief, be good, brief background.
Okay. Well, Elizabeth Freeman was a very active um, suffragist, and she was actually born in the U.S. but grew up in England and then came back to the U.S. to do suffrage work here. She was quite active. She was had worked in Waco, worked in the Metroplex area, and she was very successful. People really liked her, so she was making real progress. And then her career sort of took a 90-degree turn when she was approached by the new organization called the NAACP to come to Waco and do some investigation the day after the unfortunate tragedy of the lynching of Jesse Washington in 1916. So the reason the Pomeroy wants to honor her is because of her suffragist work, but that's compounded by the fact that she came to Waco and did this investigation, and the work that she did here over just a period of a week really formed the basis of the NAACP's national campaign against lynching. And so she was actually instrumental in turning the corner for the whole country against lynching. It took a while. Nothing happens overnight, certainly. But anyway, she was very young, tiny little lady, just out there on her own, didn't know how to do an investigation, but did it, and was doing really important suffrage work. And of course, this is the 100th anniversary of the constitutional amendment to give women the vote. So she's real important to us. So that's what I know about Elizabeth Freeman, unless you want to know more.
Thank you. Any of the
You're
commissioners have any questions for Tony? I think if the court is interested in this, that we ask the Space Committee to look at this specific location and get the details on it to make sure it fits in long-term plans and to take into consideration future projects, but also you can see that this is on the piece of landscaping on the corner, I believe, Dustin, of 6th and Washington.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of in a space, it's, no one parks in that area. It's like I say, it's a kind of a landscaped area. So if we got an interest in doing this, then I would like to ask Space Group to look at it and then come back with the court to approve the spot. So,
Can I say one more thing?
yes, please.
Patricia, the Pomeroy Foundation has given Patricia some time constraints, so she needs to get her stuff into them by December the 1st. So
Okay.
that's what I know about that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And hello, all of you. It's good to see your faces.
Okay, thank you. All right.
I would just like to add, I have read the writing that Elizabeth Freeman did, excuse me, when she was sent down here on behalf of the NAACP to, it wasn't to investigate, but she was sent down here to just, I guess, check the tone of the city and to kind of follow up on exactly what happened to Jesse Washington. It's a very interesting piece that she's written that you can Google and pull up. And it's very in-depth. And like Tony said, it's good to hear Tony too. Like she said, it was extremely instrumental in the national anti-lynching movement. And I think there are probably other people that could be suggested to be put there, but she is definitely one that deserves a space. And so I'm hoping that the space committee's report, when they come back, gives us a pathway to that, because she is definitely worthy of what they are asking for. If there's
Okay.
anything I can do to help Tony, please reach out to me. And if the space committee needs anything from me, I'm here also.
Okay, also, I mean, I didn't even think to tell you this, but we have submitted to the Texas Historical Commission an application for a marker
Mhm.
acknowledging the lynching past of McLennan County, and the Jesse Washington lynching is sort of the culmination of that. And it's been approved. It was approved a long time ago. Everything I think is in. They're just sort of niggling over the text right now. The county commission has approved it. The state commission has approved it. And now all we're waiting for is the final text and for it to be passed, and it'll be placed in front of City Hall. So that's, you know, it's always good to acknowledge your mistakes and pledge to do better. So I think that with that marker, we'll be doing that. And Elizabeth Freeman is so closely related to that.
Okay,
Thank you, Patricia.
thank you. Okay.
Thanks, Scott.
Yes. So do we, Commissioner Miller, were you gonna make a motion?
Yes, sir. I move that, I believe it's your intent for the space committee to study that area and come back with a recommendation. Was that the intent of your action?
Well, I think the court needs to decide, first of all, if they want to do this, and then the space committee talks about where, if the location that's suggested fits in with everything else, something we, just to be sure something we didn't think about as far as the location, but the space committee won't make a recommendation on whether for the court to approve this or not. It's only for the specific spot that it'll go in, so the court needs to make that decision.
Okay. Well, rewording what I just said,
Okay.
I would, based on everything I know about Elizabeth Freeman, based on the anniversary of the suffrage movement, I would move that to approve a marker recognizing Elizabeth Freeman.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any discussion? Okay, no discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. And I would like for the space committee to take this up on the next meeting. We do have a deadline. Thank you. Okay, let's go back to the consent agenda. And I have a recommendation of several pulls. One is item E3A. It's a HR matter for the tax office. E3B is a HR matter for maintenance of buildings. And E6C is the auditor's report. Are there any other recommended pulls from the consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of those pulls?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Going to item E3A, tax office, I'd call for, on Amanda and Francis to talk about this. This is a assistant chief deputy position for the tax office. So, Amanda.
Francis, I'll begin if that's okay.
Yeah.
This particular agenda item request is related to the tax office. It is an assistant chief deputy position, position number 1031. This particular position is one of the leadership roles within the tax office. We've had an employee retire from that position, and the tax office is requesting the ability to employ another individual into that position and have overlap. There is a situation where that retiring individual had approximately 80 hours of accumulated leave time available, and they would like to hire the individual immediately from the point that position is vacant. And currently, because it is the beginning of the fiscal year, they do not have funds available for that overlap, which I think is the point that Francis would like to speak to. But the request is to allow us to have that position filled without a gap in service because of the sensitivity and importance of that leadership position.
Okay.
Francis, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, so, there's not enough activity yet in the year to determine if there's a surplus there. But I think his intent is to fill the position less than max. So his intent is to have surplus funds later in the year. So we wouldn't recommend doing a budget amendment at this point. No budget amendment would be needed.
Okay, any questions that any of the commissioners would have or comments? I think this is something we've had to do in the past, so we don't have a gap in coverage of service to our community. Okay, what's the recommendation of the court?
Make a motion to approve the tax assessor's request.
Second.
And that's the tax office, yeah, okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under E3B, the maintenance of building is requesting an increase in hourly part-time rate from $10 to $15 for a position that will be working after hours, ensuring county buildings are cleaned and sanitized according to county standards. The $15 an hour rate is in line with the existing custodial position and HR support. And HR supports the request, so HR is saying it's in line with existing custodial positions. So Amanda?
Judge, you've said everything that I intended to say related to this agenda item. If there's any questions, I'll certainly answer those questions.
Thank you. Is there any questions?
The only question I had, didn't we recently approve 15 an hour for part-time constables as well?
I think that's correct.
And I was looking on Indeed, and the average hourly rate on Indeed for that type of position is around $12 an hour. I was just trying to, there's got to be a little bit of differentiation between what the constables do and what this position is requiring with regards to risk. I just wanted to ask, is it just what we're trying to make is just a flat $15 an hour part-time rate across the county, or are we considering the positions?
We take each position into consideration. We looked at what the internal equity is in relation to the position. We looked at the position requirements. We also looked at the hours that this particular shift would be assigned and took those things into consideration.
Commissioner Perry, when you looked at the exceed.com website, is that a part-time that you're looking at, or is that a full-time?
I just asked for average hourly rate.
Okay.
For janitorial custodian positions. And
Okay.
it was $12 an hour. It didn't say whether part or full-time.
Oh, okay, all right. I see TJ's on. TJ, you have any thoughts on the?
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Commissioner, the whole thought process was that we were trying to make this position where it would be adequate to have someone to come in and take ownership, especially since it's after hours and it deals with two of our buildings that are always in contention with cleaning needs. So this position would take care of adult probation and juvenile. So that's kind of the thought process. We wanted to get someone in there that's actually going to own that position and hopefully stay with us what could be for the next year until we can find a contractor to take over. So that's kind of the thought process behind it.
Okay.
The additional fact that the court should take into consideration related to this role as well is these custodial positions will have to meet the background requirements to be able to work in these particular office buildings as well, which is more complicated to find individuals that meet those requirements.
Okay.
And TJ, with paying one the 15, we're still way cheaper than what we're paying the contractor, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're looking at a cost savings over a year span of probably a little more than $10,000. So, I mean, we're doing ourselves a justice by bringing in a part-time employee that'll actually be employed by the county. We're going to save a little bit of money and actually get some ownership within that position and have a little more control over the cleanliness of those buildings. So, I mean, I think it's
Yeah, I think that's a good deal. I mean, if we can keep our own person there versus a subcontractor, you have better control, we have better control.
absolutely.
So I'd make a motion to approve the request.
Second,
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Okay, make note that Commissioner Jones did vote. Okay, going to, Francis, on your agenda item, if it's okay, I'd like to hold that for a little while, till later on in the meeting, which would be the monthly financial report, unless you think it's gonna be very brief.
I can do it in 5 to 10 minutes, but if you want to hold it, that's fine with me as well.
Okay, let's hold it.
Okay.
Okay, going to, under items, I'd like to jump down to item N9. It's on my page 13, and this is the FFCR matter. Dustin, you want to frame that? You or Amanda?
Sure, Judge. Under the Family First Coronavirus Relief Act, there are some differing areas where there's guidance from the Department of Labor and how they're applied to county workers. There's some issues with when schools are closed, when child care providers are unavailable. So we've been working through that. I know HR has been tackling those issues as they come up. So we thought it was the right time to bring this to the court to look at potential to use have a temporary county policy to address some of these issues. So Amanda or Mike, I don't know if one of y'all want to pick up from there.
Yeah, what really, we're just talking about one situation right now, and that's the situation where the schools are at our health authorities or at our health districts urging are requiring that if there's someone in the home that has COVID, that the any children in the home are quarantined from the school for the whole time that the person is sick, but also for 14 days after that person shows no further symptoms. And obviously that could be a real problem for an employee, whether they're the one sick or their spouse is sick or whatever. If the kids can't go to school, they have to stay home and keep the kids. And it's really of no different effect than some of the other things that have been held to be under the FFCRA. In fact, I think it's equally or more important. But because of the way that some of the language reads, you can't make it fit under the technical language of the FFCRA, and that's due to a couple of things. One, the act was and the regulations were written very quickly, and two, people didn't know all the maturations and issues that could come up. I mean, they weren't thinking about the fact that a school might place an additional 14-day quarantine on kids, stuff like that. So at this point, we can't find a basis in the FFCRA to do it. But since you're paying for it with county money anyway, even if it's under the FFCRA, you're paying for it with county money that's already budgeted for that position. The request is that this particular situation be treated like it was eligible for expanded FMLA leave, and that we just adopt a temporary policy to go ahead and cover that.
Any thoughts from the commissioners on this? Do we have any idea what this could potentially cost?
Well, right now, I only know of one, but Amanda may know of others.
I think there's 3 so far that would have qualified. I could be incorrect, but I believe it's under 6. I know that.
But again, we're talking about 2/3 pay for a period of while while the kids are out, and that and it's, again, when we talk about how much it's going to cost us, the money's already there. But for COVID, we'd be paying them 100% of their salary. So
And just, I guess, thinking of another scenario, what if the employee was able to and had the equipment and was given permission by the department head or elected official to work from home?
So we've encouraged a lot of our offices that if they have a way and a means of providing that option to their employees, to certainly do so. However, some of these employees are in situations where either A, they're sick, so it's difficult for them to be working from home, or B, they have to assist their child who's now unable to be at the school, attending school facilities, conducting their online learning. So depending on the school age of the child, they're assisting with that instruction at home, so it would be difficult for them to be working and providing the instruction simultaneously.
Well, that could be true. I've got 2 daughters that are doing it. So I know it can be done. It's not easy. I don't think anybody's saying it's easy.
Do we consider a cap on this? And I'm not necessarily saying the benefit stops, but to reevaluate. If you could take someone that has kids in multiple schools, and if it all happens, we could be looking at months. So should we entertain some form of a cap and then bring it back for review at that time, or just leave it open-ended for however long they would need it?
So currently the law is applying the FFCRA through the end of December. We haven't seen any extensions to that. My recommendation would be that it should apply the same way that FFCRA expanded leave applies. So they have a 12-week limitation of being able to utilize the benefit. It's applied to the same rolling calendar as our family medical leave. And currently, FFCRA has only been approved through the end of December. Of course, if they extend that, we'll certainly make the court aware. But my recommendation would be to follow the guidelines of the FFCRA expanded leave as far as timetables.
I'm just asking that because we're drifting away from what's written and forming our own policy. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page as we do that.
So, Commissioner, are you recommending that,
I agree with what Amanda's statement was, is that it follows the federal act as far as its timeline goes.
okay, but then you suggested that we also take in consideration.
I think our policy should expire at that time. And then
Okay.
if we have to put another policy in place, we could, but I think it should expire at the same time that the federal act does as well.
Okay.
Amanda, does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
And whatever motion we do, if it's to approve this, it should indicate that it is, applicable, retroactively, because we have one in the tax office that was, I mean, this was a big hit for them. And so it's, that would be probably the only one I can think of, right, Amanda?
I think there's three, sir.
3. Well,
Yes, sir.
you know, it won't do us any good because the 3 that we have are the, you know, the main impetus for this if we don't apply it, you know, to say we're applying it retroactively.
Can I make a comment?
yes,
Or have a question? So yes, and I think, you know, we would need a very specific policy adopted by the court then to administer, you know, to audit payroll and to make sure that the amounts, you know, that were going out were accurate. We would also need to know that, you know, specific employees were approved or not approved for that specific reason. We would have to keep this separate from the expanded FML. There's some pieces of the CARES grant that I'm thinking we can use some of the 2/3 pay from expanded FML and use the grant to cover some of those costs. So we want to make sure that these are differentiated from those on our books and easy to pick apart. So I think what they were saying, yes, some policy that very, you know, specifically details the timeline and the amount or the number of hours that you're wanting to do. And then again, you know, we would have to have some sort of approval process like we have for some of the other situations now, and we would have to be informed who was on that new form of leave.
any other thoughts? Okay, so, what's the pleasure of the court? And it sounds like what direction we take, we're still gonna have to follow up with some decisions to be made on
Right.
making sure
To see the final version of the policy, and we need to do it as quick as possible. I agree these
Okay.
people need their pay, but I certainly would like to review that before we approve it.
all right, if we can get action on this, then I'll suggest a way to do that.
Okay, I'd make a motion that we adopt the policy that Mike is working on, that's recommended by HR with regards to the FFCRA.
All right,
Second?
okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. I would like to ask Commissioner Miller and Commissioner Perry, along with Francis, Amanda, Dustin, and Mike Dixon, to visit about any specifics that might come up and what the resolutions might be, and then report back to the court.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Going to items F under budget amendments and transfers, under F1 regarding the 2020 budget. Francis?
Yes, sir. So F1A and F1B are both budget amendments for FY 2020. F1A is for the Law Library Fund, and it is to move from contingencies within that fund to legal reference material line items for various courts. And then F1B is a countywide budget amendment, and it is to clean up some line items that some changes have occurred during the year, and we're cleaning all those up at once. So it's increasing furniture and equipment by a small amount, general liability insurance for an increase in one of our policies, real property rentals, and that's in relation to adding additional months for lease back for our buildings through Magnolia. an additional amount needed for utilities, autopsies, and then other services and charges.
Okay, any questions about those two? If not, is there?
Francis,
Yeah.
where exactly did the increase in utilities come from?
So,
Not that it's a laundry.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I mean, I'm just wondering.
You know, sometimes the summer months are hard to know, you know, just depending on the temperature, what our utility bills are going to be leading up through September. And so we just happen to be over for to clean up our last bills for the month of September includes gas, water, electric.
Okay.
Wouldn't that also be that the Harwell jail's on our bill now?
Yeah, yes. That one is actually separate. We keep the utilities for Jack Harwell in that department for some reporting reasons. So that is the one exception to that line item.
Okay, any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve F1A and F1B?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under F1C, under Dustin, there's numerous ones here. If you'll tell us what those are about.
Yes, sir. Under F1C 1, 2, and 3, these are for claims associated with Robert Hartland Jr. These are Texas Association of Counties claim deductible invoices. The Hartland case is an inmate that is complaining of the jail law library, paralegal assistance, mailing supplies, lack of access to copiers and other things at the jail. This is being handled by Tom Brandt's firm. F1C 4 and 5 are related to a claim associated with Erica Bledsoe. This had to do with an employment claim out of the tax office. Then F1C6 is claims associated with Daniel DeGroff. This is another one of our sovereign citizenship claims.
Okay, any questions about any of those? Is there a motion to approve F1C1 through F1C6?
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under F2, regarding the 21 budget, Francis?
Sir, so like you said, regarding the 21 budget, now we have budget amendments starting with F2A. F2A is related to the Permanent Improvement Fund, and this budget amendment is just needed to separate some line items out for the Trading House Lake project and the Cow Bayou project. F2B, this is general fund, and this is for repair and maintenance at the Heart of Texas Fairgrounds. There was a budget amendment done earlier in fiscal year 20 for a new boiler that needed to be installed. That was not done in fiscal year 20, so they are needing to get that completed in this current year. So we're needing to do another budget amendment to set up that line. F2C, this is the Permanent Improvement Fund related to the 2017 bond, and it is to move some money into the capital improvements line item related to the records basement renovation, and it is for additional audio equipment for the HR training room. F2D, this is for maintenance of buildings, and this is related to the item that was approved earlier in regards to the part-time position for their department. So they are going to move from the janitorial services line item into the to the part-time paid line item. F2E, this is general fund in our economic development department. And this is increasing the line item for the McLennan County Community Investment Committee by $50,000. And the funding was approved on October the 6th. F2F, this is general fund for the Indigent Health Services Department. They had ordered some computers before year end, I'm sorry, printers before year end, and were not able to get those until after the new year started. So they are needing a budget amendment to increase furniture and equipment, and they are moving within their department. F2G, this is general fund for Road and Bridge 3. The request is to move from the countywide contingencies into their road construction materials line item. This is due to unforeseen cost while carrying out an interlocal agreement with the city of Waco for Steinbach Bend Road. F2H, this is general fund for capital outlay department. And the request is to increase that line item by that $85,169. That is for 2 vans that the sheriff's office was approved for in 2020, but they did not receive those until this current year. F2I, this is the permanent improvement fund for the 2019 bond. This is just to spread some of the funding from the contingencies in that fund into our road project lines to finish out those projects. And those are the Spiegelville Road and Chapel Road projects. And then F2J1, this is for the sheriff's office. They are also asking from contingencies to move money into protective clothing. And this again was for items that they had planned on and ordered in the previous year, but did not receive until the current year. Is there any questions?
All right, any questions on those? If not, is there
I
a
have
mo-
one.
Yeah,
I have one question. I wanted to ask Commissioner Jones or Zane. I know in our interlocal agreements, there's a section that says if additional materials, labor, equipment, or other projected related expenses are necessary to complete the project, that the city agrees to pay the county for the same at the rate of the actual cost of the additional materials, etc. If that's, I'm not sure if that language is in this agreement, but if it is, it's not in, I was just wondering, because I know they're in mine, so I was just wondering, is that language in this agreement?
No, Commissioner, it's not. It didn't make it in there.
Oh, okay.
okay, any other questions? Is there a motion to approve F1C through F2J 1 and 2?
So moved.
Pardon me?
It should be F2A instead of F1C.
Judge, J2 was not a budget amendment. There was another request there.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, is there a motion to approve F1C through, oh, I'm sorry, I gotta pick up the 21 budget, I apologize. F2, F2A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. F2, so we go down through F2H, F2I, F2J, 1 and 2.
We didn't discuss 2 though.
Oh, I'm sorry, with the exception of 2, apologize. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second, any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. F2J2, authorization of billboard expenditure and use of county credit card. And this has to do with trying to increase the application activity for the sheriff's office. And so Amanda, you want to discuss that?
Sure thing. I'm trying to get my screen to share. Give me just 1 second. IT, it's not giving me that as a drop-down option.
This billboard, would be for 16 weeks. Total cost is $9,164. And its location be I-35 Valley Mills Drive. And, it lists the key advantages there of exposure and all those different things. And the SO would like to use the funds available from the other services and charges line item of their budget to pay for that.
And Judge, part of the request, the majority of the cost will be billed or invoiced, but there is some production cost associated with the billboard. So we'll need authorization to use the county credit card to pay for those
For those
costs.
parts, okay. Any questions anyone would have? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under G, under bids, RFPs, RFQs, G1's authorization of recommendation of bid number 20-023 Rattler Hill Road Creek Crossing improvements. Ken?
Yes, sir. We received 2 bids on this solicitation, one from JH Construction LLC and one from Mitchell Construction Company. Bid amount from JH was $184,130.84. I made a note, also a note from our engineer that put this bid together and did a bid tabulation that they had a mismatch between their unit prices and extended prices, but again, does not make a material difference in the award to Mitchell Construction for an amount of $147,114. We do recommend that McLennan County grant the award for Rattler Hill Road Creek Crossing improvements to Mitchell Construction Company in the amount of $147,114. And this includes an ad alternate that we had on the bid that has the electronic signs on each side of the crossing so that if it's flooding, it tells you don't go through there. I have supporting documents from Matthew Zipperlin from Land Inc. supporting the recommendation for the Mitchell Construction.
Okay, any questions?
Zane, do you have anything to add? So I'll take that as a no.
Well, no, if you can hear me, I do not have anything to add. I'm very pleased with the results of the bids and do recommend Mitchell Construction Company be awarded.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve G1 at the recommendation of the purchasing agent as well as our county engineer.
Second the motion.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under G2, this is authorization electronic log program proposal with Rayhan Technology Services for the Highway 6 jail. The proposed amount is $21,250 for the program, and it is currently at the Jack Harwell Detention Center, and in the 30-minute observation areas of Highway 6. The installation would complete Highway 6. This project would come out of a commissary fund. Major, is there any additional comments on that?
No, sir, you pretty much covered it all. This will complete both facilities and put us in compliance with the Sander-Bland Act.
Okay, any questions for Major Armstrong? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under G3's ratification of mail ballot activity portal proposal with Votech Corporation. Kathy, Dustin?
Judge, I'll cover it. This is a ratification of a proposal from Votech totaling $5,050.24. It's for the installation of the mail ballot activity portal for elections. The Help Americans Vote Act CARES money is being used to pay for this. And of course, with the election ongoing now, there was a short turnaround time for this. This allows individuals to be able to log in and check the status of their mail-in ballots. And so it's already in place.
Yeah, and I've used it. It works pretty good. You can figure out the status of your mail-in ballot. Okay, any questions or comments about it? If not,
It does work.
pardon me?
It does work really well. I went through the steps to see how easy it was. It is really easy. And if there are no more comments, I'd move to approve G3.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments? Any additional comments or questions? If not, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under H, I'm gonna drop down to H2, authorization of sale order agreement and service agreement with CTWP. This is for a copier fax machine for the auditor's office. It's for $14,323.28, service agreement at a base rate of $1,320 a year. It covers parts, service, labor, and black and white toner. Francis, unless there's something else, what's the pleasure of the court? Is there a motion to approve?
To approve.
Okay, we have a
Second.
motion. Second, any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under H3A, H3, this is authorization of monitoring service agreement with Level 1 Technology LLC. H3A is regarding the information technology agreement with Level 1 for alarm system monitoring services of 500 Columbus Avenue. The term of the agreement is for 1 year at $240 a year. What's the pleasure of the court? If there's any questions, Lisa's on. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass, and it looks like the next one's the same thing, except it's, will be, precinct 2 at the Battle Lake Road, facility, $240 a year. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under H4 is authorization of professional service agreement related to construction materials and testing proposal with Langerman Foster Engineering Company for Rattler Hill Road crossing, proposal number CMT 20-148. Zane, do you speak to this?
Yes, sir, Judge. This is a testing contract to do the soil and concrete testing for the recently approved Rattler Hill Low Water Creek Crossing project in the amount of $7,384. It is recommended for approval.
Make a motion to approve.
We got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under H5, these are authorization agreements for legal services for indigent parent pursuant to the Texas Family Code 107-013. You have a list there of the various law firms that have been selected, and they would handle the legal services to indigent parents for CPS cases. This seems to be working. It's selecting, instead of a district judge or signing just randomly attorneys to handle these very specific type of litigation. All these firms have turned in their experience levels and all, and the judge is recommending that we select these. The agreement was put into place to help stabilize the cost of providing attorneys and indigent parents with Judge Coley. According to the agreement, the firm will receive $8,750 a month or $105,000 for the term of the agreement. The firm may handle up to a maximum of 50 cases at a time. The term of the agreement will go from 11/1/20 to October the 3rd of 21. And this is a funding in the FY21 budget under Department 5420 for these agreements. Any questions about this? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Okay, it's a motion to approve H5, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under H6 is discussion or action finalizing internship memorandum of understanding with Conley Independent School District. As you recall, we talked about this several years ago and had an interest in doing internships to be able to maybe build a relationship with young folks that might want to end up working for the county full time. The state legislature cleared the path to do this. So Dustin and Ricky and Amanda, if y'all have anything to discuss in this.
Yes, sir. Last court session, we'd approved the MOU with Connolly for the internship program at the jail with the understanding that we would be working on finalizing the details of that. So before you today are just kind of the finalized details. Basically, for paid internships, those will be available to students that are age 18 or older. They will be 3 to 5 hours per week. It will be $12 per hour, and there's a participant acknowledgement form that must be completed before beginning the internship. For students that are 17 years old, it will be an unpaid internship. It'll be the same 3 to 5 hours per week. There will be no pay for those. There's also a acknowledgement form from the jail, as well as a HR unpaid internship form that must be completed, and no person under 17 is eligible to participate. So Amanda or Ricky or Mike, I don't know if y'all have anything else to share on it.
I just had a question. I wonder what had changed, because several years back, we were trying to do this internship and we were told that, we couldn't have unpaid interns to work in the office and that kind of thing. And there was some liability issues that were brought up. Has that been resolved?
Amanda or Mike, do you want to speak to that?
There were liability issues were as much about how interns were related to, but the thing is with unpaid interns, you can't use them essentially as a replacement for an employee. You have to actually, for unpaid interns, you actually have to actually create kind of a training for them. It may benefit you, but it cannot be essentially taking the place of a paid employee.
Yeah, and there's a curriculum that they're going to be following with Conley for this internship as well.
The one I had was just to intern in the office with Chrissy, not to replace her. And it was through one of the local high schools. And, you know, that was what we ended up having quite a bit of problem with that. I just want to make sure that's been resolved because we may want to get another one at some time.
Yeah, I think it has been, but what we're doing now is we have an internship agreement where they agree that in consideration for, you know, being able to do this as part of their schooling, that they're not being paid and they're not seeking pay. And then, you know, then we make sure that we aren't just throwing them over into somebody's data entry position and replacing them with that or something.
I think the other concern historically has been we've tried to ensure that any employee or intern is of the age of 18 or older. The other concern from a liability perspective was related to workers' comp, Mike.
And didn't the legislature give us some help on that?
And are they covered under workman's comp, these interns?
The paid interns are definitely covered. I don't know about unpaid interns. What, Dustin, you have any idea on that?
No, I mean, I believe the way we set up, Amanda, I'm trying to think. I know we are able to classify some workers on our workers' comp questionnaire. Do you think this is something that these can be added now before the?
Oh, I'm sorry. What, we can add them as volunteers.
Okay.
It includes, our coverage does include volunteers.
Any other questions?
We haven't done that in the past. I just want the court to be aware of that.
Right.
Which is why we haven't allowed this in the past.
Right. Okay, any other questions?
Does the agreement with the unpaid, is there any liability protection in there for us? Hold harmless agreements, things like that?
Well, to the extent they're worth the paper they're written on, yes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The jail participant acknowledgement form has a hold harmless in it, but it's primarily about setting forth rules. You know, don't give your name to inmates, don't give your emailed inmates, don't do any of those things, because, you know, you get a young kid out there and they don't know any better. Those inmates are extremely manipulative and they'll have all their personal information before they leave the jail.
Well, and to protect with that, they're not going to be unsupervised at any time. They're going to be placed with a mentor, and that mentor will be with them the entire time that they're inside the facility.
Okay, and Major, if this is approved, if you'll kind of report back how that's going and any modifications that we may need to consider. I will say that the internship idea around the community is part of workforce development. It gives them an opportunity. It's something they can put on their resume before they get out of high school, that they're prepared, they know what it is to show up on time and, you know, have some responsibility. And so I think it's a good community effort for us to start this out. And there's probably other areas, if this is, we can get comfortable with everything, that other areas in the county that this could be utilized, even in, you know, possibly maintenance or road and bridge and many other areas too. But
it's a very good recruiting tool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cheap recruiting tool, is what it is.
Yeah.
These are also mostly seniors that have been enrolled in their criminal justice program at Conley. It's not just somebody they put out and hand pick. It's somebody that's been enrolled in their criminal justice program for the last 3 or 4 years.
And there's a reason why Conley is selected. They've been leaders in these type of programs, and I commend them for their efforts in trying to make these relationships for their students. Any other questions? What's the pleasure?
Judge, this is Amanda. I just have one more comment since Commissioner Perry asked about compensation on a previous line item on the agenda. We again assessed this particular position's compensation value. Our current jailers that are part-time are earning $15 an hour for the court to be aware of, and we were seeing ranges of pay between $11 and $15 an hour in the surrounding communities related to internship positions specific to law enforcement.
Okay.
Yeah, they're working 3 to 5 hours, and so the reality is paying the high end helps with the recruiting and helps them make them feel better about it because they're only working 3 to 5 hours a week.
Any other questions or comments? What's the pleasure of the court?
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? I'll second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under 8.7, authorization of business associate agreement with Work Terra. Amanda, we don't have,
Yes, sir.
we have any
So
documentation.
this particular,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, sir.
Go ahead.
This particular item on the agenda, we are still awaiting the document for this, but it is a critical item that I do need the court approval on, and frankly need it this week. I'm waiting for this agreement to be signed by Work Terra to be provided for me. We've been checking all morning to see if there's an update as to when they can provide it for us. If at all possible, if we could try and see whether we have it closer to the end of the agenda, or if there would be a way to reconvene tomorrow, if we can have it by tomorrow morning, that would be appreciated. And I'll explain the reason why. Currently, in all of our efforts to get the Work Terra product, which is our online enrollment tool, the electronic online enrollment tool, operational, we wanted to be able to have that system interface with Tyler Munis, so that the employees that we are hiring, that we are entering in Tyler Munis, would be automated electronically into the Work Terra system. When employees make benefit elections and selections out of the Work Terra system, that could be communicated back to the Tyler Munis system. At this time, we've had a multitude of delays getting any support from Tyler Munis to be able to have an interface between these two systems. Tyler Munis has completely been unresponsive and have not provided any support resources or services to make this happen. So the reason why we're needing a business associated agreement between us and Work Terra would be to allow us to take the data from the Tyler Munis system in a report through a secured channel to provide that information to Work Terra, so that Work Terra would be able to display for our employees the benefits that they currently have elected, give them options to keep those plan elections or make changes to those plan elections. If we are not able to have a business associated agreement between us and them to transfer that data, then our employees would basically be making benefit elections without having awareness of what they have currently today. So this is a real sticking point for human resources to make this system the most functional and the easiest to use for our workforce.
Judge, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
If it's okay with the court, this is a form that Mike had prepared before and sent to us, and Randy McGraw has reviewed it as well, and it is in the hands of Work Terra. If it's returned to us signed in a format that Mike and Randy have reviewed and are okay with, are we okay going ahead and moving forward with it?
Any comments from the court?
I'm fine with it. This is a sticking point right now, and we're at the 11th and a half hour here.
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Jones.
I agree.
Okay, Commissioner Jones, you want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve this agreement per review of legal and HR, and if they approve, we approve.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Bless you all. Thank you.
All right. Under H8 is the authorization of master service agreement related documents with BKD LLP. This is for grant compliance services. Dustin?
Yes, sir. Last court session, we approved the proposal with BKD to help us with the CARES Act grant and to provide consulting services for it. Mike drafted this agreement, and it's been passed back and forth between us and BKD, and we received the final version back late yesterday afternoon. What it does, there is one change on from the proposal. It does set a fixed fee at $90,000 to take into account all the reimbursables. And if we do go back to BKD, with the change in the guidance from the Treasury stating that our law enforcement expenses would be covered, this would help us through that process. If we do look at additional programs, there would be that additional expense with BKD, but we would bring back a separate amendment to the agreement to do that. So, Mike, did you have anything else to add?
Well, the reason to go up for the 90 is I don't like any contract that leaves open travel and administrative costs, and 4% on everything. That's about the difference in it. So I'd just rather have a fixed fee and not have any hanging out there, requests for reimbursement. And this is quite a bit different from the proposal they sent because it is totally 100% focused on the CRF, the CARES funding, and it was not general auditing. So I think it's a good form, and I think TDM will think it's a good form.
Okay. Any questions? What's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve the agreement with BKD Advisors.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Thank you. Under I is Waco McLennan County Economic Development Corporation, WIMDEC. Nothing specific with WIMDEC. Right now, we will have a report from Chris Collins here shortly. I'd like to clean this agenda up first. Under J is capital improvements, repairs, maintenance projects. Under Knife River is submitted a pay application number 8, totaling $332,229.78, which accounts to almost 51% complete of the project. And so this is regarding Spiegelville Road. So are there any, Zane, y'all reviewed it, everything looks good on it?
We have reviewed it, sir, and all is well. The project's going well, so it's recommended for approval.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under L, under grants and grants proposal, under L1s regarding Texas Historic Courthouse Preservation Program, recording of architecture's invoice number 1902.05 for courthouse master plan update. And this invoice is for $9,900. Dustin, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, just as a reminder to the court, we approved the agreement with Architects back in December of 2018, and we did receive a grant from the Texas Historic Commission to update our master plan. So The grant was for a little over 50,000. I believe our portion of the fee is, our match is around $5,000. So this is a reimbursable expense.
Okay. All right, what's the pleasure of the court? Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under L2 is regarding the Texas Indigent Defense Commission FY21 formula grant authorization submission of grant application and related restoration. Dustin?
Yes, sir. This is the annual formula grant we apply for through the Texas Indigent Defense Commission. Last year, we received, I believe, a little over $240,000. This application must be submitted by November the 15th.
Thank you. Any questions? Not, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion made second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under L3 is regarding the Texas Department of Family and Protective Service Title 4E grant for legal services, authorization of Title 4E legal assistance claim quarter end for 6/30/20. This is in amount, let's see, Auditor's Office has submitted this claim for reimbursement of legal services for the DA's office for CPS cases. The total reimbursement is for $40,581.84 to be certified state match of $40,581.84. Total expenses, federal and state, is $80,163.68. Any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion been made second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under M, under Department Office and Special Request, under M1's Road and Bridge Precinct 4, authorization of reimbursement for damaged vehicle, broke window. The amount is $358.94. Any questions on that? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under N, under additional items and discussion of potential actions, under N2 regarding the McLennan County Group Health discussion or action regarding the health plan. Amanda?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So I tried to put my documents in order of what is in your listed materials. The first item there is related to the health savings account enrollment and contribution agreement with Optum Bank Incorporated. Currently, our health savings account has been managed by Health Equity. In our transition and move to having United Health as our third-party administrator, they utilize Optum Bank for their services for the health savings account. This enrollment form has been reviewed by our HUB International Benefits Consultant as well as our legal team. Our legal team has agreed to this particular document before you, and I'm requesting your approval so we can proceed in the setup steps for having Optum manage our health savings account for our employees.
Any questions?
Amanda, will the employees be able to transfer the amount that's in the health equity into this?
Yes.
Optum?
Yes, sir. We are building educational information, webinars for employees to be able to get information on how to make that transfer occur so that they could move their funds from the health equity account into this Optum Bank service that is provided by United Healthcare. The reason for that is if employees have the option, they can leave their money in the health equity account, but they will be charged administration fees. So that's why we're ensuring that we provide them the tools and information available to transfer those funds.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under N3, discussion or action regarding the deferred payroll tax.
Sir, I had some other items. I apologize for interrupting.
Okay. Go ahead.
I have an additional item under N2. I have two other items. The other item is I'm requesting the approval and support from the Commissioners Court to transition from having AFLAC be our provider for our short-term disability benefit to having United Healthcare serve as our provider for that short-term disability benefit. This provides a better contract term that ensures that we don't have as many pre-existing coverage exclusions that we currently have under AFLAC. It allows for higher levels of coverage for our employees at a lower rate. So we would like to make this transition and seek the court's approval for that. The second item that I have is currently our Scott and White, Baylor Scott and White TPA administers our ability to identify eligibilities for dependents that are at 26 as to whether those dependents meet those qualification terms for a disability verification. We are requesting the ability to have United Healthcare as our third-party administrator provide that same service. They have a one-time setup fee of $1,765 plus a $200 per individual disability dependent verification cost to be able to provide that service to us. Again, currently that service is provided by our Baylor Scott and White TPA. We're wanting that service to continue to be managed by medical professionals as they have more knowledge of the medical history and those disability verification requirements to ensure that a dependent would meet those medical requirements to qualify for that benefit.
Okay, are there any questions about those two items? What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve motion to approve the United Healthcare short-term disability coverage and the United Healthcare disability verification.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you. Under N3, discussion regarding the deferred payroll tax obligation. We've deferred this several times in anticipation of the possibility of this deferred pay amount could be waived by either by additional CARES Act legislation that may come forward. So I would recommend we defer this and make a motion we defer this till the next meeting.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. N5's discussion or action regarding the creation of tax pool account group for McLennan County bail and security, including authorization of resolution, designation of authorized representatives and related party agreements. There is no cost to the county to set this up, but just need approval to do so. Is there any questions anyone would have on that? I think Bill's on the line if anybody has a question. If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. I'd like to continue to hold Chris just for a little bit, Chris, we'll, get to you. Under, N7, discussion or action extending the COVID, 19 disaster and public health emergency declaration through November the 30th of 20. Dustin?
Judge, this does exactly what you said. It just extends the state of disaster and public health emergency through November 30th, 2020, and this matches what the city of Waco will do.
Okay, any questions about that? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under N8, approval of McLennan County holiday dates for 2021. Any questions about those? If not, is there a motion to approve these holiday dates?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Going to items, N10, authorization of court appointee for Emergency Preparedness Advisory Committee. This is to reappoint Danny Guerrera on the EPAC, and this is recommended by the group. He makes the meetings and contributes well into them. Any questions about that? If not, is there a motion to approve Mr. Guerrera?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? Motion made, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under N11, acceptance of a .247 mile of roadway in the Buster Chatham Addition, Phase 1 and 2 into the county road system of Precinct 3. Zane?
Yes, sir, Judge. These roads have met the requirements that our department requires, and these two roads are recommended for approval into the county road maintenance system.
Okay, any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under N12, authorization of fixed asset transfer form between the Sheriff's Office and Road and Bridge Precinct 3. This is a 2013 Dodge Ram pickup. It would come from the, as it said, from the Sheriff's Office to the Road and Bridge 3. Just need a motion to approve this fixed asset transfer form.
Motion to approve the fixed asset transfer form.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under O, Americans with Disability Compliance Act, under O1, authorization of professional service invoice CP&Y for the month of September totaling $10,223.11. And Dustin, I guess all the appropriate folks have reviewed this.
Yes, sir, they have, and it covered work at juvenile, the courthouse improvements, MHMR, and then the ADA project at the fairgrounds as well.
Okay. If there's no questions, is there a motion to approve? I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry,
Aye.
Pass.
I'm sorry, I should have said something earlier, but can we get an update on all the ADA, maybe at our next third Tuesday meeting or something like that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We can request CP&Y to come give us an update.
All right, and might include that with a Space Committee report too, so everybody's updated on it. I don't think we've met in a while, but need to go ahead and update everybody. Under items P is McLennan County Venue Project, P1 is regarding the architectural service agreement with Populous. P1A is authorization of professional service invoice for August through September, invoice number 0070606. The amount is for $21,450 for construction administrative services for August through September. Dustin, anything else on that?
No, sir. Ken and I have reviewed this, and we're on the weekly calls with Populous and Irwin, and Populous has been making trips back down here, and they're constantly reviewing the work either through drone footage or in person as well.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion made.
Second.
Second, any discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Passed. Under P2, regarding the construction manager at risk, I want to hold this. Kevin Carr is going to give us a virtual tour here in a second, and then under Q is McLennan County Radio Tower Project. Under Q1 is regarding the system purchase agreement with Motorola Solutions, authorization certificate of milestone acceptance for the Aviat microwave staging and equipment shipped. Ken?
Yes, sir. We also attended the deal to see that the microwave system worked. They ran a test that we could view online.
Okay.
And so the microwave system's coming in, and per our agreement, this is the kind of the precursor to invoicing us for the microwave system. And so I believe John says that we've got the stuff, and the invoice will be coming in. It'll be 60% of the amount that we contracted for, and that total amount was I had it right here, $425,134. So we'll be getting an invoice for 60% of that.
Okay. Any questions for Ken? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. No additional questions, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Commissioner Snell?
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Okay, under work session items, I do not have anything unless someone else does. I would like to go back to item under H1, Industrial Business Grant Agreement with Advanced Rail Systems, and then from there we'll go to N6, will be the Economic Development Report, and in that we will go into executive session briefly. And if, Chris, if you think we still need to, and then after that, we will conclude with Kevin Carr's report. So, morning, Chris.
Good morning, everybody.
Okay, go ahead.
You have before you in the industrial business grant under H1 for advanced rail systems. This is a company that we started working with in 2016. So, you know, projects have a lot of starts and stops to them over time, and we're glad that this one has been able to circle back to us. Advanced Rail Systems is a company currently located in Falls County. They have identified a site just outside of Riesel at Highway 164 and Highway 6 at the Y there for a new corporate headquarters and manufacturing operation. The facility would be 23,250 square feet. They would invest $2,265,150 in the construction of the new property and also relocate property from Falls County into McLennan County. With this, they'll also relocate 20 positions from Falls County. And as the company continues its growth over the next 5 years, or by the end of 2025, that 20 jobs is anticipated to be at 69 positions in McLennan County. So lots of growth over that. What has been requested is the county to participate in a industrial business grant with this solely on the real property. It would be 40% of the real property tax collection over 5 years. So it'll be a grant back to them. That equates to, based off of current tax rates and the anticipated value of the building, to be $22,882 over 5 years. Our recommendation is for a staff recommendation is for approval. This company is a manufacturer and designer of high-speed rail switches. They've grown their business considerably over the years, and this is a great win for a more rural part of the county.
And there's adequate infrastructure there, I guess, for them to construct this. And
Yes, sir, there is. And one of the things that they need for their business is fiber optic access. We've been able to work with AT&T, who had a line across the street, and they're working with them to bring that line across 164 into the site.
okay. All right, any questions? Good.
Judge, I'd also add that their average pay that they've committed to in the first year is $74,000, and by year 5 is like $80,000 plus health benefits.
That's correct. They have a highly skilled engineering team as part of their corporate makeup, and all of the jobs that they create will pay at least $15 an hour, and by the end of the 5th year, they'll be at $80,000 a year of the average annual salary.
Good. Any questions about that? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Commissioner Snell?
Commissioner Snell,
He's,
Okay, he's
okay,
frozen.
we can go with.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
We got you.
Commissioner Perry,
Try it now. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Aye, we can hear you. Aye.
Okay, good.
We
Didn't
got
get any
you.
response.
We got your vote recorded. We have all the votes?
yes.
Okay. All right, approve. One other matter, hang on, Chris, one other matter. Let me go back to H6C, Auditor's Report. I'd like to ask the court to defer that since it's a report for things in the past. And we're running out of time. So I'd entertain a motion to defer E6C.
So move.
You want to defer or just for recording purposes?
Well, and we can do it either way.
Yeah, we're all pretty
So,
familiar with the report. It's up
so
to you
can
guys.
we defer it?
Oh,
Um,
which
I
one
was
are you
gonna-
talking to?
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
It's all right. We will, okay,
Need a second.
is there, we got a,
I made a motion. We need a second.
okay, I'll second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Okay, let's go back to Chris. Thanks, Chris, for letting us do that. Under N6, page 12, Economic Development Report for September.
Yes, sir. We had a very active month for September, adding 4 new active projects to our list of projects that we're working on. We did have a project announcement. Thank y'all for your support for Texas Meter and Device. They're doing survey work right now and final preparations for that to begin construction. So we're glad and appreciative of your support for that project. We did have 14 attraction inquiries for the month of September, submitted 8 proposals out the door, and hosted 12 on-site visits through a combination of both boots on the ground and virtual visits. So a very active month for us. When we look at the most active projects that we're seeing in the marketplace here, we have Project Calcite Mineral, Project Diana, Project Cool Breeze, Yellow, Chase, and Sundance are ones that are all new attraction projects for the marketplace. We are seeing an uptick in opportunities with our existing businesses as well. And we continue to see hiring opportunities for our existing employers. So those are all good signs of the strength of the economy. And we have some very exciting projects on the horizon that I'm sure that you'll be seeing in the very, very near future.
Good. Some of the rumors are even reported in the paper.
Yes, they are.
So, yeah, that's a great deal. And we'll learn more on that later this week, I think. Okay, any questions? Is there a motion to approve Chris's report for recording purposes?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Passed. Okay, I'd like to go into executive session under 551.087 of the Government Code regarding the economic development negotiations. And it is 11:11, and I'm asking Dustin Chapman and Chris Collins to stay in the have to have at 11:30. So, tell us when we're back, ready to go.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, let's, looks like it's 11:18. Let's call a meeting back into session. And so, Dustin, if you'll kind of get the group started on this virtual tour, and I'll be, once done, of course, any questions can be answered by Kevin from the court. Please try to accommodate, and I'll turn it over to Commissioner Perry. Thank you.
All right, on the call this morning, we've got Kevin Carr and Dylan Matthews from Irwin Construction, and Bill Bourne, Lucas Bergstrom, and John Fickle from Populous. They're going to give us a virtual walkthrough of the Expo Center and update us on the progress. So, Kevin, do you want me to turn it over to you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we kind of got a quick tour of what's going on at the Expo Center from a construction perspective. Like Dustin said, we do have Populous on the line as well. So we are currently standing outside of the southwest main entry in the public parking lot portion of the site. Basically, the site work is done. We're really ready to pave. All the utilities are in place. All the underground irrigation sleeves are in place. Our last step really out in the parking lot is to pave the parking lot and to actually install the landscaping. But we're here kind of trying to give you the public bird's eye view. I'll let Bill speak a little bit about on the design side of things. And then as we get into various other positions of the tour, we'll talk about what's going on constructively and then let Populous talk a little bit. So I'll kind of let Bill take over for a moment here.
Thanks, Kevin, and thanks, Judge and Court. It's good to see everybody again. So yeah, I think that was a great introduction. We'll start with the site here. Looks like Dylan's gonna pan around, but you know, what we created here throughout the design was really a transformation of the fairgrounds into a year-round destination, and looking at, you know, not just having you know, a parking lot out in front, but sensitive to what the look and feel is from Bosque, creating a sense of arrival and really a new dramatic entry and statement to the fairgrounds and the event center site. So you can see there's integration of landscape, safe separation of parking and pedestrian circulation. So I'll take it back over to Dylan. Thank you. And Kevin.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and Dylan, let's move up in a position too, kind of, as we approach the Expo Center. There you go, and you pan up a little so you can kind of see the main entry. Here's the big giant tree columns, if everybody remembers from some of the initial design presentations. We're looking at the big southwest main entry. We're in the final throes of putting in soffit systems, exterior lighting systems. You can see the curtain wall and glass systems are going in. They're currently inside the lobby, finishing out the lobby space. I don't know, Bill, if you kind of want to touch on the entry experience at all here, but.
Yeah, this is great. You'll see we have the two main entries, which are really visible all the way out from the street, and which gives you flexibility of having 2 points of ingress and egress for a large event, or if you have multiple events happening at the same time, you could really direct people to their unique entries and creating that authentic experience. Also in the view, you'll see the sun and mechanical shade screen walls, which also one of the alternates that was approved by the court, which was the additional canopy shades out at the porch, which is getting formed right now. It'll be a great hospitality space, more outdoor breakout space for those all day tournaments or all day conferences as well.
Yeah, why don't you walk up, Dylan, and we'll kind of go to the other side of the entry.
As Dylan's walking to, just as you can see here with not just, the sunshade for people, but also it's going to reduce glare and things like that in the concourse, and reduce the thermal heat gain on the building itself for more energy efficiency.
So this is the big front porch area. There's a large limestone, stacked stone wall that kind of creates the front of this area. You can see the concrete kind of in the background where we started the concrete work. We'll actually start tomorrow, erecting those large limestone block walls that kind of define the front side of this front porch area, so we can kind of start to really bring together and start completing the exterior work on the project. So I don't know, Dylan, if you kind of want to step inside the Expo Center now. here we are in the multi-story, two-story entry space in the expo hall. Kind of looking up, you can see the ceilings are going in along with the electrical lighting, trying to finish out this space, but it is a big voluminous multi-story space. And I think if Dylan pans to the right, you can kind of see the public front of house, public concourse areas. There's an entry into one of the restroom facilities, looking down towards the food platform and the concession space there down the public corridor. So I don't know, Bill, if you want to say a few words here, and Dylan, maybe you can pan back to the entry.
Yeah. As you're looking down the concourse, though, first you'll notice that there, where the chevron nooks are, we've created some areas to more flexibility for either table and chair, dining, seating, or even flexibility to have some vendor booths could go in there to support whichever, multitude of event types. And that's the main kind of walk-in food service, flexible food service down there in the middle of the concourse. And then in the main entry, it's a continuation. We're blending the indoor and outdoor materials, design moves, and experience. So, the ceiling, again, it's that we're carrying that same material to the interior. The difference here, you could see there's kind of spacing between the ceiling panels, which allows sound to move through there, and we've got a spray-on insulation above that, so to help with the acoustics in that space.
And yeah, Dylan, if you want to go ahead and we'll kind of walk into, so we're entering the main expo hall now, which is the big 50,000 square foot event expo space, basically. We'll kind of pan a couple directions so you can look there towards the east. We are in the final throes currently. All the wire is pulled to the main electrical rooms. The mechanical installations are wrapping up as we speak. We'll actually put power and energize the main electrical room this week, as well as a couple ancillary electrical rooms. And then next week, we'll bring the balance of the power onto the space. So we're really working, you can kind of see we're working to wrap this space up and kind of finish our work here in the main expo hall. You can kind of see the wire that was staged there for the main electrical service. This is looking back down towards the west end of the main expo hall. These are, if you look up just a little bit, Dylan, you can kind of see the big overhead tracks that you'll see. Those house the large operable partitions that can subdivide this space into multiple configuration, as well as down on this west end. These could be subdivided further into smaller breakout meeting rooms. So you kind of get a feel for really how the interior space of the expo hall is coming together. Next major activity in here beyond getting power and getting permanent lights hooked up is really the large operable partitions are set to be installed starting on December 2nd. So we'll actually have the large operable partitions in place. So I don't know, Dylan, if you kind of want to proceed, or Bill, if you want to mention anything here inside the expo hall itself.
Yeah, that was a great summary of the functionality, the flexibility of the hall. Just one thing to point out on the west as well as the south walls, you'll see that, right now it's still a big blank wall there, but if you remember from earlier design presentations, that will be full of a pattern of acoustical wall panels. So break down the scale on the south and the west side. And then as you look, now we're looking east and north, you got natural daylight coming in again for that connection to the exterior and what's going on throughout the day as if you're in the venue for a all-day tournament. Large loading doors on the north side to accommodate a variety and ease of load in, load out. And then on this west side as well, that will be the entry during the fair, as this becomes the new exhibitor, vendor, creative arts hall. That this will be the flexibility of our concourse and entries were to have this could be that secondary entry year round, or also the main entry during the fair or other festivals.
So yeah, so Dylan's kind of headed out the west side of the facility. You can see the large overhead sectional doors that allow use or load in, load out, or during fair times in the future, this could become the connection to the actual midway You start to see what the exterior skin and the aluminum sunshades panels look like on the building, as well as the brickwork and the overhead sectional doors. Dylan can kind of pan back to the right. And basically that's where we do have a series of columns that, and there'll be ornamental fencing basically that connects the Expo Center back to the Coliseum to create that separation. When it's kind of in fair mode, you can kind of see a large column in the background. That's where those two columns there that you're looking at, there'll be large sliding gates that can be opened up to create access into and out of the venue property, depending on what events are going on. So I don't know if there's anything else, Bill, you kind of want to touch on, but maybe pan back.
You can't really see in the screen, but the one of the details we integrated into the screen wall on this west side was over the main entries and those sectional doors was that the ability that the Heart of Texas or Extraco or whomever's hosting an event there, you can have attached banners to the side to create new signage and direct people in there, especially during the fair. There's going to be, funnel cake vendors and other tall kind of vendors that allow you to get some signage up high and change that out and customize it towards each event.
All
So
right.
there you can see normal personnel doors, the kind of normal door entry, and then the sectional doors that could be opened up to allow better flow of people into the building, or also support more flexibility for load in, load out. Thanks, Kevin and Dylan.
Yeah, so I don't know, Dustin, if there's any questions but that's kind of an image of a snapshot in time of where we're at this morning, so.
Okay. Dustin had to be on the call with the judge, so he's no longer with us now. But Bill, thanks. Kevin, thanks. Hey, does anyone have any questions for any of them with regards to the building? Okay, guys, thanks for the presentation.
All right, thank you, sir.
You bet. Does anyone have anything else to come before the court? If not, we'll stand adjourned.
The recording has stopped.